Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the SH Figuarts My Hero Academia Overlay DEKU, which is a thing I'm super familiar with because I have definitely watched all of this series. Now, you guys know I haven't, but I know you guys have. A lot of you told me it's really good and you like it and stuff. So, Big Bad Toy Store, I think this is the thing they sent me. I'm not 100% sure. They asked if I wanted to review a figure, and I said sure. And I think it was this one. It could have been a different one. So I'll say that about a different figure maybe instead. But let's just say they sent this to me. I think this is the one. So I have to disclose that officially. But I'm going to review it like normal, as always. It doesn't matter who sends me what. You guys always get an honest review regardless. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's get them off the stand and take a closer look. All right, before we look at the figure, I do want to show you my package. It's a nice package. It's the usual Bandai fare. It's got a green background this time though, so you can see the figure a little bit better in it. I like that a whole bunch. Some photos on the side here shows different expressions. That's kind of nice. The back, we have more photos than normal, or at least it takes up more space than normal. It's still a lot of words on the back. Like Bandai, I think you guys need to chill out with the whole, like, hey, we're making action figures that are articulated thing, because, like, we get it. Everybody's doing that. You don't need all of this on every package. It's a bit much. Okay, but there's a photo there. It's definitely a displayable box, so there you go. Okay, as far as ordering this guy goes, I don't know what his status is. I'm sure it's pre-order. I'm pretty sure. So I'll put a link down there if you want to get one by the end of the review. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. If you want to use that link, I'd appreciate it. If not, that's fine too. All right, he stands to the top of where his head would be, not his hair, about 5 1/4-ish, maybe a little bit more. And that's going to make him just about, let's say, 13.5 centimeters. Here he is up against Darwin. Not the smallest thing, but certainly not the largest. Okay, and what I'm going to do is just pull this off because it's super annoying. It's fine. We'll talk about that in the accessory section, but just for the review, for now, it's annoying me. Okay, so question of the day. Is this not just a giant copy off of Venom? That's what it seems like. Completely just an anime version of Venom. Let me know if that is the case. Alright, so let's talk about the aesthetics on this guy first. You might have noticed there's a ton of paint on him, which is awesome because Bandai has recently been known for not including very much paint at all. And it's actually surprisingly well done. It's not absolutely perfect everywhere, but it is good. The little green things there are good. All of the black, like Carnage line work, Carnage from Marvel Comics, that's all really clean. The little details that are there, they're not a ton, but they're there. That looks nice. Like, it is not a bad looking figure. So, if you like the way this guy looks, maybe we're missing some details there on the belt. Unless it's all supposed to be just plain old red. But yeah, it looks pretty good. The faces are pretty clean. There's shading in the hair. There's some shading on his little scarf thing. It looks nice. Now I have one huge issue in terms of the aesthetic. I cannot get the head to seat properly in the hair, or vice versa, however you want to word that. It looks like a shadow, so it's not like the end of the world, but there is definitely a gap, and gosh, this guy is pointy. I can't push it in there any harder. I mean, you can, but it pushes right back out. So it's just kind of a pain in the ass, and that is kind of a horrible thing. Like, you don't want a giant gap along the hairline. This did come from the Vietnam factory, so maybe that's a tolerance issue that they need to fix. I don't know. But if you're not super close to it, at least if you're into this sort of thing, you can probably look past that. Like, you won't notice it if you're not reviewing it, probably, if it's on your shelf. But it is super irritating that there's a huge gap in his hair. And then also that his scarf colors don't really match. It goes from having shading and being darker yellow to being lighter yellow back here. That's really, really crappy. That transition is terrible. That's like one of the worst things I've ever seen. So, hey, you guys know I'm being honest in my reviews. If it's a review sample, it still gets reviewed like anything else. That's terrible. The inconsistency from yellow to yellow is abysmal. Okay, and then the last thing for aesthetics is I would say I really like the shape of the body overall. They did a pretty good job with the proportioning and whatnot, but we'll get into the shoulders as we do the articulation, and you'll see they are crazy. I don't like the shoulders. They don't look great, but they're hidden by the craziness on here, but they're crazy in terms of the engineering too. It's not a good situation. So aesthetically, there's a lot of good and a lot of bad. I'm gonna say like 7 out of 10 overall. Depending on which things you focus on, you might really like the way this figure looks, or you might be like, oh, it's a non-starter. So it's kind of 50-50 there. So 7 out of 10. The hole in his back, there's a plug for that, by the way. That's just there for the Venom things. Okay, so let's get into the accessories. So we have the Venom backpack that pegs into his back. Now I like this because they made it out of really lightweight plastic, so it's not a problem. And the joints hold the pieces up just fine. You get 1, 2, 3 joints per, let's call them legs or tendrils if you want. And it works pretty well. It works fine. It pegs into his back relatively well, and it's so lightweight that it doesn't matter. It's finicky as all hell, of course, because it's a bunch of jointed, lightweight limb things, but it works, so that's fine. The paintwork around it is also very nice. It's pretty good looking. Like, it's nothing crazy. It's just like a dry brush, but it does help. I mean, it makes the figure look a lot more expensive. Like, a little bit of paint goes a real long way. So that's nice to see. I like that. And otherwise, we have some alternate faces. They're all pretty well done and a decent spread of hands, but that's it. Nothing crazy. I'll say 8 out of 10 for accessories. No display stand, and just a sort of usual assortment since the tendril thingies. I mean, I'm not really going to count that as a bunch of extra accessory. It's one thing that's necessary for the character, so it's hardly even an accessory. So yeah, decent spread, but nothing super impressive. Now it's time for the articulation. I have some reservations because I'll tell you right off the bat, he feels floppy. There's a lot of flex and flop going on, and I think that's because of the joints they have, but also the plastic is softer than I would expect too in some spots, or at least it feels that way, but it might just be the excessive amount of joints and engineering. So we're going to talk about it, but yeah, like, he moves around a lot from the knees down. So it feels annoying. I'm curious to see if it will be as we get through this. Okay, so as far as head articulate, well, I'll start with the scarf. A little ball hinge back there, which it's like so poorly implemented. This does not look good, Bandai. What the heck? You guys love to over-engineer things, yet you couldn't figure out to hide the joint underneath a fold of the scarf? Where's Darwin's finger? I need a point. This right here should be part of this. And it should stick out, and then this part should have a ball hinge going into this so that it flaps underneath, so that it's hidden. Not whatever the heck this garbage is. That's a terrible... I'm going to use Darwin's hand for everything now. This is terrible. Okay, that's bad. But the head and neck do move around really well, so... Like I said, this figure's kind of like you get some terrible and some great all at the same time. It moves around really well on there. Just whatever you want to do, it does. Now the shoulders, I can't tell exactly what the heck Bandai's trying to do. There's some kind of ball peg in here and toward the front, and then we have this combination of things with a cap over it that sticks out for like the top part of the shoulder, and it goes over that to raise the arm, but he can't raise his arm all the way, and the butterfly range is like next to nothing. I don't know what they're doing, and you can't rotate the arm? So like, unless the whole thing's supposed to rotate, I guess it is. It feels like you're fighting it, but you have to rotate the inner part to get the whole thing to rotate forward. So it seems to me like it's just, and now it doesn't want to go back. Oh, good heavens. What the... Just put a freaking regular shoulder, Bandai. Stop reinventing everything. You're not good at it. This is nuts. Stop it. It's just a crappy butterfly joint. There's no other benefit here other than the arm raises up in a more natural position. But everything else is sacrificed for that. That's... Oh, it's such a bad design. Goodness. It's like they're trying to do a Revoltech shoulder and improve upon it. So they put this giant tube of meat sticking out of his giant capacious armpit. What the... These kind of things make me want to swear on my channel, and I don't do that. Alright, so we have a bicep swivel, and it's faceted. This figure's starting to bother me more and more. It's like a McFarlane figure. They faceted where the bicep would go to make it look better in one position slightly, which it doesn't, by the way. That never works, all of you companies who are doing that. It always looks bad still. And then when you rotate the bicep, you get a chunk of bicep still on the shoulder. That's terrible. Shame on you, Bandai. What the heck? You know better. Crazy elbow that is just hideous. Good range, but what are they doing? This figure is everything that's wrong with Bandai right now. That's nuts. Sorry, Big Bad Toy Store. Maybe some people will still want to buy it, but I appreciate you getting me a review sample. Alright, ball hinge wrists, those are fine. Alright, let's see about the torso. It doesn't lean back. It doesn't lean back. Why? Goodness, what about forward? It can barely lean forward. Okay, what about side to side? No, barely does anything there either. Maybe underneath this floating belt, the lower torso does a lot of lifting. Let's see. Yeah, that moves around a lot, which is a lot. And you just leave that down, and he gets a lot of range out of that. So at least we'll give him that, but it's borderline floppy. So his upper torso sucks, lower torso has decent range, but is really floppy. And this is a floating piece, but it feels to me like it is meant to be connected down here all the time. So that's weird. All right, okay, for the hips, no drop downs, thank goodness. These are good hip designs in general, but we actually don't get as much range as we normally do, so that's a thing. All right, bringing the leg forward. It gets up to horizontal. We get a little bit going back. Okay, the hips work pretty well. That's fine. A little bit loose, though. For sure loose. These Vietnam factory releases don't seem to be as good as the other ones. I thought they were getting better, but it seems like they're not. The thigh swivel, very loose. But you get a nice thigh swivel, but it is loose. Maybe it's a ball peg. I can't say for sure, but definitely loose. All right, for the knee joint, it functions. It's a little gappy and weird, but you get good range. It kind of looks okay. It's this part right here that looks bad. Maybe that's just the way he's designed? These spikes that stick out? I don't know. But at least you get good range. This is a floating piece, it feels like. Or maybe it's not. I don't know. This figure is such a kibbly mess. You get this joint in here. It's a ball peg. So his lower leg has just tons of extra range in it. Which is like, I get what you're going for. I don't know. That's like, you're spending budget on things that you don't need to spend budget on. Nobody's leg bends like that. It's one thing when you use it to like have it go too far forward or too far back to enhance the knee. Or for like very specific sort of stuff, but putting a whole ball peg down there just to make the figure a wobbly mess is not really okay if you ask me. We have this floating piece, which is way too floaty. Because it's going to go all over the place. It's really unpleasant to handle. But we do get really good range out of the ankles as a result. So, credit where it's due, the ankle range is nice, but you're fighting with the figure the whole time. So that's alright. And then the toe hinge is actually decent. Ah, man, it's like on paper, this figure is not so bad. A lot of these things could be okay, but in execution, you need really good tolerances and better planning and better engineering and to stop over-engineering everything. This figure could have been so much simpler and functioned better. I'll give the articulation, I'll give their concept a rating. I'll go 9 out of 10 for concept for most of it. But even then, I take it back. I'm not going to do that. They don't get that because the shoulder concept is terrible. A ball peg down here is not what you want. Articulation gets a 6 out of 10. There's too much of it, and most of it doesn't work well. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying about there being too much of it. Adding extra joints for no reason doesn't make a figure better. It makes it unpleasant to handle and wobbly. And I don't need my legs to break at the shin bone as I'm handling the figure. I don't need the shoulder to have 30 pieces into it to get it to work. It's just too much, and most of the joints are loose and weird. So, time for the final verdict on this figure. At first, I thought it was really impressive. It looked really nice. There was a lot going on for it. And then I handled it, and it feels like a crappy Revoltech. There's too much going on. It's too wobbly. Most of it doesn't work as well as it should. Very disappointing. If you're going to get this guy, just have him sit there in like where'd the box go? If you're just going to put him in this pose right here, it'll do it for sure, and it'll actually look good doing it, other than the hairline. But otherwise, I have to say it's not a recommend. I'm not going to say you should get this. I'll give it a 6 out of 10 because it does look good, but overall, I cannot say it's a particularly good figure. So that's the way it goes. All right, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and I'll be done there. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos just about every single day, and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.